All right, guys, thought I was done for today, at least in recording, but it seems as though there is some relatively breaking news out of East Boston. This very much reminds me of the document that I read on Natick schools. And again, there is this racial division rhetoric, okay? This was not posted on any news site, not even in local newspapers in East Boston. But I'm going to share this with you today. The reason I am sharing this with you today is to bring your attention to the absolute nonsense that is happening throughout this state and, more importantly, throughout the city of Boston. This is what is going on here. Now, I'm going to read this live with you. I didn't read the entire thing. I just picked my daughter up from school. But here we are. Dear colleagues, our CEO believes this is a racist organization. He and other members of the executive team have said this in front of too many people, too many times for them to deny it. The new racism training being rolled out to staff also states very clearly that all white people are racist. The CEO and his team knew what was in the training before the sessions began, so they cannot deny believing that statement. Does that mean that all my white colleagues are racist? What about my white patients? Are they racist too? What about all the white residents in East Boston and the other communities that we serve? What about my white neighbors? Are they all racists? This is not the health center that I know and love. I have always been accepted here, felt that we were all on the same team, and that we all had a common goal. We have always cared deeply about diversity, and I was proud when the staff chose diversity as one of our core values. Not only is the CEO wrong about the organization, we are exactly the opposite of what he is claiming. 3 years ago, we had a leader that believed in who we were and what we were doing. And now this. How did we get here? These attempts at racial division only work behind closed doors or in small groups where Greg and his team can chill speech and silence dissent. It is important to get this out in the open. Well, now it is. So all staff know what the executive team thinks about the organization and its employees. Share this letter with your teammates. Leave a few copies in the break room. Do not let Greg's beliefs stay hidden. I look forward to the next all-staff meeting. Our CEO can start the meeting by stating, I, Greg Wilmot, believe Neighborhood Health, that's, I guess, the company, is a racist organization and that all white people are racist. Are we going to let him divide us? I believe we are stronger than that. Then there's this, which I'm not entirely sure what the hell this even is. Our CEO, Greg Wilmot, believes all white people are racist. The line, all white people are and always will be racist, was said multiple times to the staff during a 2.5-hour workshop Greg called insightful, motivating, and necessary. By endorsing it, he's not just dividing staff, he's using his position to normalize racism under the banner of equity. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Am I racist too? Just not as much. Who decides? Greg decides. And he cares about power, not you. About press, not patience. Well, now he's getting some press. About visibility, not community. He wants his face in the spotlight and his own people at the table. The rest of us, our patients, we are on the menu. Don't let them divide us. His agenda is clear. Outdated, inaccurate race trainings instead of real solutions, all to advance himself. He's actively erasing everything Jim Taylor, Jack Craddock, and Manny Lopez built. A diverse, mission-driven, community-based organization that puts compassion first, just to leave behind his name and his new blue and purple logo. To the good people at Neighbor Health and EBNHC. I'm not entirely sure what that is. If you're from East Boston and know, let me know. Talk. Share this letter. Make copies. Leave a few. Okay, we read that a little bit. How could he not see the hostile work environment created by his own decisions and leadership choices? Guys, stuff like this. Look, I have 135 agents throughout 5 states. Okay? Stuff like this is not what people in these type of positions should be pushing onto their workforces. Stuff like this is more divisive than anything else. It's inappropriate and it is disgusting, okay? It's simple. Greg doesn't care about us. He protects himself and those people who advance his agenda. He takes credit for our work, our impact, and our care. We know he doesn't care about white people. Latinos will be next. Then our Asian colleagues, our Moroccan staff. He does not care. No one outside of his circle is safe. We are just next. It's simple. All right, wait, I'm sorry, I read that. Respected, loyal leaders who left in the last 3 years didn't just walk, they were pushed. By the way, the person that sent this to me has said there's been a lot of people that have resigned. It's a clear pattern, dismissed and replaced. Greg Wilmot prioritizing his own racism over patient care is another pattern. What's even worse is this is at like a hospital or a nursing facility, something, right? Put a struggling employee on a performance plan. If they are black, Greg calls you a racist and pushes you out. High-ranking black leaders telling black staff, did you ever think your non-black manager treats you the way they do because you are black? That's not equity. That's division by design. Since our CEO is surrounded with yes men and enablers who won't tell him no, we all have to be the ones to say it. No more gaslighting. We see you, Greg. We will see that every choice you make for this organization seems to chip away at our resources, our loyalty, and the spirits of who we are. We see you trying to divide us to hide your shortcomings. You are not fooling us. At the end of the day, our patients suffer the most. Leadership turnover disrupts operations, fractures teams, and undermines patient care. Greg is no longer just a leadership issue. He's a liability to the community. We must speak up for those who cannot see that Greg does not care about his staff, our patients, or the community. We know Greg only cares about Greg. When do we tell everyone else? Well, I guess it's a little late for that. So stuff like this is absolutely absurd to me. Anytime you have some sort of like race trainings or anything that's revolves around this type of stuff and this type of rhetoric literally just separates people even more. When you have, or you're a manager or you're a leader or you're a coach or whatever you are in any kind of workplace, whatever it is, it should be about your employees and in this case, the patients. Okay. If you want to have like a behind the scenes something or maybe somebody was doing something disrespectful, the fact is, you don't change your entire rhetoric that you're talking about and basically funnel every single human being that works for you in the same category as perhaps that one person, okay? And I'm not saying there aren't bad actors here. What I am saying is that you don't criticize an entire organization and try to push this onto people that may not even be involved, because what that does is it sort of opens Pandora's box. And that's exactly what happened here. So if you're a manager or a leader or a coach or whatever it is, like, leave this stuff to the side. It doesn't need to happen this way. More importantly, what's more surprising to me is that I forget the name of the paper in East Boston. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm sure they caught wind of this, and maybe they don't want to expose this because said company may be making investments in the community and so on and so forth. And by no means am I trying to fracture that relationship. What I am trying to show here is how ridiculous some people are and some people act. It's just unacceptable to do these things. It really and truly is. Because again, you end up mislabeling people or funneling your employees into the same bucket as everybody else when there could have been potentially one bad actor that should have been taken care of. Not this way. Okay? Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. And you know what? If you know anything about this, please let me know. If you have any information that any other companies, schools, organizations, advocacy groups, I don't care what it is. If you have any internal documents that you want me to cover like this, just to shed some light and bring some attention on these ridiculous absolutely ridiculous race trainings or whatever you want to call it, please send them to me, because this is absolutely uncalled for. All right, guys, hopefully that's the last one I get for today. That's it for today's video, I guess. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.